Welcome to Energetics with Kim and Veronica, where we invite you to nourish the energy of your inner why, your inner healing, magic, prosperity, your curiosity, clarity, playfulness. Welcome home. Hello and welcome to Energetics. Hi, Kim.
Hey, Veronica. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. So happy to be here for our next exploration, contemplation, conversation, deep dive. Really inviting you to imagine that we're, pulling up a chair at the table and we're all just having a friendly old chat about some fun concepts that have really been transformational for us and for folks that we've played with over the years. And as always, inviting you to join the conversation as though there is something here for you, even if it seems like these are concepts or discussions you've heard before. There's always a new layer. There's always a new awareness. There's always a new gem. And even though we've heard the information before, we may have heard the information before, inviting you to listen with a curious mind to see what might be new and revealing itself into your awareness today.
Yeah, so even us showing up and chatting, we can awaken new and have more awarenesses around it ourselves, right? And that's what's fun about you and I doing this together, Veronica. It's like we're not showing up here pretending we know anything or everything or anything like that. We're sitting here and going, "Huh, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?" And yeah, I think that is a different approach than coming up here as in let's teach them everything because we're still exploring ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And at the same time we've been playing with a lot of these concepts for years. So the fun thing too is that we can bring into the conversation, real experiences of things that have worked for us and things that haven't, and ways that we've, um, you know, leaned into the conversation to explore different ways to perceive the concepts and to embody the concepts, which is helpful, I think, at least for, it has been for me over the years to hear true examples and different ways to integrate the information. I think can be really helpful.
I love, yeah, exactly. It's kind of like examples of how we played with it. So that the concepts aren't just out there somewheres and now what? It's kind of like, okay, yeah, this is something I played with for 30 years and or 5 minutes or
Yeah.
whatever. And yeah, and yeah, that exploration of learning, well, what do you do with this? What about that?
Absolutely. And today we
Cool.
thought, as obviously this conversation we're exploring energetics, which is the concept that everything is energy, that we are energy, and how we interact with life and the universe is energetically first and foremost, and how as we look to or choose to begin to refine our energy and navigate and mold our energy in the different ways that we can begin to experience, we can have a different experience of life, of what's being handed to us. And also we can choose to create the life and the things that we desire. So it's really like putting us in the driver's seat and leading our lives by design, if you will. So today we thought we'd maybe dive into a really fun part of our brain, which is called the reticular activating system. And it may be something that you've heard about before, or maybe not. Either way is beautiful. And as we learn more about the reticular activating system, we again take the driver's seat in our life as we learn ways that we can change what we see and experience in our lives. So the reticular activating system is a little part of our brain. It's in the back, kind of back by our neck, and it acts as a filter. It acts as a net. There are a lot of different data points that are thrown around about how much information is actually perceived by our brain in a given second. So I have seen reference points that refer to 400 billion bits of information every second that comes into our brain, yet we are only aware of about 2,000 bits. So you think about 400 billion versus 2000 and the difference in that. I've also seen the stats of, 8 million bits, but we only perceive 40 to 50 bits. So I'm not the scientist here. So, but regardless, it's a lot. There's a lot of information that comes into our brain. They actually, I've read that, even if you're sitting in a restaurant and you're having a conversation with somebody and you don't listen to any other conversation, our brain is actually picking up and actually retaining everything that it's ever perceived, even if it's in the background. And so how does your brain determine what actually comes into your awareness? If there's millions or billions of bits of information, but it's only a very small portion that comes into your awareness in a second or in a moment, the way that your brain filters that information is the reticular activating system, and it acts as a gatekeeper. It filters it out, and it determines what it believes is relevant for you. So how does it determine that? Well, it's been programmed, right? It's been programmed through our lives, through what we've lived, a lot of it through childhood, right? There's a lot of information that really shares that, in our first 7 years of our lives, are very critical for forming what gets filtered and the neurons that are firing in our brain. But there's also big things that happen in our life that can influence the reticular activating system. Belief patterns. If we've seen something over and over again, or if we've lived something over and over again, it starts to form a pattern, and our reticular activating system believes that, it is now sourcing through the data and presenting to our conscious awareness what it believes to be relevant or important for us to have in our awareness. I'll just pause to see if you have anything to add to that, Kim.
Well, as you're saying all that, it really brings in that piece of the subconscious programming. And so are they different or the same thing, or do they kind of walk and hand to hand together?
Hand
I
in
think
hand,
one
yeah.
so it's like one is programmed, the other is actualizing the other. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like that program, as you were saying, and then we make that really true and really real, and then we keep it active and keep it active, and then it plays itself out. Is that how you would say that the reticular activation and the subconscious kind of hang out
So
together?
we so we have the conscious awareness and we have the
Yep.
subconscious. And again, the numbers vary depending on what your source of reference is. But say 92% of the information in your mind is subconscious and 8% is conscious, or 95.5. It's somewhere in that range. And so we have the conscious, which is a small portion of what we're aware of, and then we have the subconscious, which is all kinds of data and information that our brain stores that we're not aware of. And the reticular activation system is like a filter that decides what's going to filter into our conscious awareness.
Right. Right. So the subconscious is the programming, and the reticular activation being what we're seeing through that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay.
So a good example is, a common example. There's a couple common examples, right? So a mother knows the cry of her child. And so there's a playground and there's all kinds of things and there's cars and there's all kinds of noise, but her child falls and cries, and she immediately hones in on that cry and goes to find her child, even though in theory, a lot of noises could have overridden the sound of that. So that's what filters into your brain, because your brain has determined, the reticular activating system has determined that that's what's important. The other really common example that we often use that helps us out is you decide you start to look at cars, right? You start to look like you want to go car shopping, and you decided you want this very specific red car, and I've never seen that car, it would be fun to have it. And all of a sudden you're driving, and now you start seeing it everywhere. Well, why is that? Was it never there before, or was it and it just wasn't filtered into your awareness?
Right. Exactly. Which kind of is a little bit or a lot about choice, right? Meaning I'm focusing on getting a red car. And so now I see it everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's
Yes.
that kind of filter where, yeah, so I'm choosing this red car and now I'm seeing it everywhere because that's what the reticular activating system has chosen what is actually relevant to me right now.
Right.
Got it.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Exactly. So when you think about making big changes in your life, say you have a big goal of, changing your health or the way your body looks, or a financial goal or a career goal, and you start to take steps toward it, but you feel like everything is working against you, right? It could be, there could be multiple reasons for it, but it could be that there's all of these paths that are available to you, but because you've been functioning from it not being your reality, your brain is only filtering through to you pieces of data that match your belief system, your current belief system. And so the good news about it is that we have neuroplasticity in our brain, which means that we can form new neural pathways. But again, it takes choice, it takes awareness, it takes choice, it takes conscious choice to focus differently than what we're seeing. And that is simple, but tough.
I think it's like you said, it's making a really clear practice of noticing where you're functioning from. So if I am like, okay, I'm going to create this thing, and all the things, all my old programming keeps saying, oh, yeah, no, that happens for everybody else. It'll never happen for you. And that's just going to keep showing up and showing up because that's what my reticular activating system is focusing on, and so that's what it's seen as relevant. And so for me it's about looking at, okay, there's that thought again. It's never going to work for me, it works for everybody else. So it's that practice of constantly being aware, and I'm not saying every second of every day, that would not be, that's not realistic. Right, however, just noticing where and when I'm doing the rabbit hole of noticing what isn't working in my life as I'm on my way to try to create something new. I want to be more aware of the stuff that I've been believing and programmed uh, to see that it's not going to work. Because as you said, the brain being neuroplastic, we can change that wiring. We can change that program. However, first I got to become aware of it. And so instead of beating myself up when I'm down the rabbit hole of no, that'll never happen, I get to go, oh my God, there's that thing. I'm on my way to creating something new and ooh la la, and everything that says I can't is showing up. Okay, cool. And I get to go, oh my God, and laugh at myself, but also celebrate my moment of awareness and have gratitude for myself that, ooh, yeah, I noticed it this time. I noticed my old programming of it'll never happen for me, it'll never show up. I noticed it. And so I get to, for me, instead of beating myself up when I laugh at it, or sorry, when I notice it, it's more like, oh, okay, that's a celebration when you notice it. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
cool, I noticed it. And what do you do with it? Well, you can, as we chatted about in some of our other calls, you can go, okay, am I going to play that card right now? Or am I going to put that card down and pick up a card of, okay, and stay focused on my goal, my target, what I'm looking to create? Follow that energy, follow the energy of my dreams, not the stuff that isn't working, but the stuff of the what if,
Mhm.
right? What might it be like to have that? And because it's so easy for, the poop to get our attention because it's a heavy energy. So it's like the school of 2x4. It gets our energy, and so yeah, and we keep we keep seeing the same poop show over and over and over, because that's what we're programming, and that's what the reticular activating system sees as important and of value to me, because that's where I'm playing. So it'll keep showing me the same thing. And so it's about noticing it and catching it and going, oh yeah, right, there's just that thing. And staying focused on my goal anyway, my target anyway, my dream anyway.
Absolutely. And I think maybe we've talked about this in the past where not to bring religion into it, but I think that in the Bible it talks about how Jesus said something about turning the other cheek. And I've heard it in reference in this context, meaning like not, not in the literal sense of about being a slap, but about, you're focusing on what you don't want. You turn your other cheek. You turn your other cheek to focus on what it is that you do want. And I thought, and that really landed for me when I heard that. I feel like for me, anyways, that's been like the toughest thing to do, is to be faced with what I don't want and choose to focus my energy on what I do want. Like, it's just really hard to be faced with that hardcore reality and choose something else. And we also talked about in another episode about the energy that we're bringing into a situation, right? So when we're, arriving somewhere, I mean, this is really very, it all ties in together, because it's like, well, if I'm going into a situation with somebody, say somebody at work who I know is always confrontational, and I'm going into the meeting, expecting them to be confrontational, my reticular activating system is now filtering out anything that I experience and putting it into my awareness that they're being difficult, right? Whereas if I can go into that situation of, okay, well, what else might be possible here? Or what is it that I would like to experience instead? That's the reconfiguring, if you will, of the reticular activating system, which now allows you to see something different. There are new awarenesses that you might have about the person or the situation that you wouldn't have otherwise. And so this is where it's a bit of like that inner warrior to really find the strength to lead yourself differently through, your hardcore reality, to be able to choose the energetic of possibility of what else might be here instead that I'm not seeing.
I love that. Yeah, because it, like you said, and you said that so great, like the reticular activating, I'd say activation as well. That system, the RAS, because of its filter, if we're going into that meeting as your example, and we're expecting, that person to be cranky and that one to be ugly and that one to be on their cell phone, because of that filter, we won't be able to see anything other than that, because that is the filter it's coming through. So we won't notice when somebody's being nice. We won't notice when they're not showing up the way that we have decided or concluded, right? And so, and even if they do, it just won't seem to register.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see the stuff that we have programmed ourselves to see about them because of that filter. It's a filter. That's the best way to say it. I love how you said that. It's a filter.
It's a filter, yeah. And it reinforces our expectations. It reinforces our beliefs about what we're going to experience.
And then we get to leave and go, see, I knew they were going to be like that. Now I get to be right. And now
Exactly.
I'm building, I'm kind of like really charging that filter of, yep, I knew they were going to be like that. I knew it.
Yep.
Right. But as you said, when we're walking in with the, what is it I'd like to experience instead? Okay, so people might be that, right? So what if they weren't?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What if they weren't? Can we be curious? So maybe they're this and what? Just get curious. Right?
Yeah.
Just get curious.
Yeah. I love the conversation and how I think that in yogic wisdom, they have said for centuries that, if for every blink of the eye, there's thousands of thoughts. And now that we have the science to support what, the wise have known for centuries, it's so helpful for our brain as we're looking to override it to know that there's the ancient wisdom and the modern science that, that ties up, and it kind of gives us more power, if you will, to be able to choose something different. And as we've in another episode have talked about that hypnotic state that we can leverage as we're going to sleep at night. Well, that's a beautiful space where we can begin to, reconfigure, if you will, the filter. So as we're focusing on, the feelings of love, or something that we like, or something we appreciate, and we soak in those feelings in that hypnotic state, we're beginning to reprogram in that filter. And it's wild how all of a sudden you'll just start to see things that you haven't seen before. It's almost like a different dimension, like a veil has been lifted, and things start to look bright and sunny and pretty. And so and it doesn't mean that tough things don't happen. It's just that you start to see things through a new lens.
Yeah, that's happening, and this is happening, and so I don't need to get entangled to it.
Right.
I can witness it, right? I can witness it, but I don't have to jump in it with 2 feet and a heartbeat, right? I can witness it, observe it. And should we do a little bit more on the going to sleep at night piece?
Sure.
What's the time? How long have we been? Are we good?
We're 21 minutes.
Okay. Okay, so because this piece, listen, when I got this piece, and so this is taking action when people are like, I don't know where to start. Don't know where to start. This is such an awesome starting point. And so I shared this with my grandbaby when she was about 2.5 or 3 years old, because I wanted her to have choices too, right? And so as we're going to sleep at night, and as you said, we did talk about this, but this subject is something that we could, it's just so, it changed everything for me. And it's changed so much for my clients when I give them this one simple tool, and they actually choose to use it. They always come back with so much feedback about this one. And so as we're going to sleep at night, we go through the same brain wave that's being used when we're being hypnotized. Do you remember which brain wave it is, Veronica? Is it theta, delta? It's one of those. Anyway, it's one of those brain waves. Yeah. And so as we're going to sleep at night, we're going through that same brain wave that's used when we're being hypnotized on a stage. And so what's that mean? Well, when we're being hypnotized on a stage and there's a program that's been planted in our subconscious mind that, hey, during intermission, when I say the word toothpaste, for example, you're going to start barking like a dog. And then the hypnosis thing goes into intermission. This is why it's such a fun stage act. But hello, so's our life. Maybe not so much sometimes. It's a stage act, right? And so the guy goes down after the hypnosis, and it's at intermission, and he's sitting there talking to his friends, and everything's normal. He's consciously awake, or she's consciously awake, sitting there having a conversation with their friends. The guy on stage says, toothpaste. Buddy or her or whatever starts barking like a dog. Why is that? Because it's a program that's in the subconscious mind. And so how much of our lives are we living on autopilot from the subconscious mind without being even aware of it? So here's the point. As you're going to sleep at night, the same brainwave, we go through the same brainwave that we do when we're on the stage being hypnotized. And so how many of us are going to sleep at night thinking about our to-do list, worry, fret, and fear? All the things. So worrying about this, that, and the other thing, all the worry, fret, and fear. So just here's the invitation. Start to notice, just notice when you're going to sleep at night, what is it that you're programming your subconscious mind with in that hypnotic state that has to play itself out in your waking state? Just like the guy on the stage, the program is put in. Hey, when I say the word toothpaste, you're going to be wide awake, right? But you're going to start barking like a dog. So that program is put in there, right? And so here we are walking around in our day-to-day world wide awake, and we've placed that program in there of worry, fret, and fear. And so now we're going to be, that has to live itself out. Just like Buddy says the word toothpaste, going to bark like a dog. So whatever we're putting in our subconscious mind over and over and over, night after night after night, the reticular activation system starts, there's your filter, right? There's your program. They feed each other, right? So I've got this program of worry, fret, and fear. So it doesn't matter how nice of a person I am. But if I keep putting in this program of worry, fret, and fear, it's going to play itself out in the daytime. And the reticular activational system will go, yeah, there it is again. So the invitation is, yes, start to notice what your thoughts are, what your feelings are, where you're functioning on your way to sleep. What programs are you putting in place that have to play themselves out in your waking state? And this is where the magic comes, because remember, the brain being neuroplastic, let's put in a new program. Let's put in a new program to play with. And so this is what I shared with my grandbaby. Bring into your awareness something that when you think about it, puts that little Mona Lisa smile on your lips and the giggle in your heart. And yeah, we have done this a few times on this show. That's how, oh my God, this is. So just bring into your awareness something that when you think about it, puts that Mona Lisa smile on your lips. Did you know just by putting that smile on your lips, it actually sends a signal to the body that the body receives as, oh, we're happy. Okay. Just that one little piece, right? And so, yeah, so the Mona Lisa smile on the lips, and just bring something into your awareness that when you think about it, makes you feel good, right? It could be, oh my God, when I was a kid, I loved going to the cottage. It could be, oh wow, today when this happened, or when somebody smiled at me, oh wow, that felt so good in that moment. So we're recreating that moment, if you will, the energy of, on the inside, the energetics of something that feels really good. It can be an experience you had 5 minutes ago, or when you were 5 months old. Could be your favorite burger. How do you feel when you're experiencing your favorite burger? It doesn't matter. We're just using something outside of ourselves, right? We're just using something outside of ourselves to activate that which is within. And so we just, oh my God, yeah, I love my favorite burger. How's that make me? Okay. And so you just go there. And so now what we're programming ourselves with that brain being neuroplastic, and now we're going to sleep at night in that energy, in that vibe, in that space of feeling good. And it doesn't matter what the it is. We're just using something to activate that which is within us. Could be how the sun feels on your face, right? Could be anything like that. So so now that we know, we can actually put new programs in there. Are you kidding me? Why wouldn't we do that? And so now we've got we've got the brain starting to rewire itself to that which feels good. And the reticular activating system starting to notice that which feels good. And the more we experience that, the more we get to soak in that, the more we will begin to create our lives around that. And that is such a simple thing. Everybody's going to sleep at night, right? Or in the day, or whenever it is. Just bring to mind, into your awareness, and let yourself have all the energy of what that thing creates for you. And guess what? Our cells get to soak in that energy all night long. Our organs get to soak in that energy. And if you wake up through the night and go for a pee like I do, you just come back and you go, oh, cool. I'm going to use this time to go back. I know as I'm going to sleep again at night, I'm going to be going through that brainwave again. Cool. I get to reprogram it again. And I might think again, oh my God, that crystal that I saw today is so gorgeous. I love it. Whatever the thing is, doesn't matter. And then as you're waking up in the morning, just bring to mind. Just bring to mind, bring into your awareness again something that when you think about it, so instead of waking up with your to-do list, just go, oh yeah, oh my God, the sun on my face. Just, you can do it while you're in the shower, but it's more, if you can do it as you're waking up, because now you're coming out of that brainwave. So we want to use the brainwave as we're going to sleep at night. And then again, as we're waking up in the morning and through the night, anytime we get up for a pee, but also during the day, at any time, you can go, oh, okay, there it is. So what are we doing is we're tuning into our own inner Ohlala, our own inner vibe. And no one can take that from us. And the more we do that, the more we practice it, the more accessible it becomes. So that, yeah, when that is going on over there, I'm aware of it. It's going on over there. However, I don't have to go there. Can if I want to. It's nothing wrong in that. It's a choice. I can go, yeah, that's going on in there. And yeah, okay, that thing, what's, oh, that, yeah, okay, there's that feeling. My energetics, my own inner being. There it is. Okay, yeah. But if we don't practice it, it's not as easy to access. So the more we practice it, just because it is yummy, right? So going to sleep at night, waking up in the morning, and then throughout the day, just going, oh yeah. So taking time, something feels good in the morning, you stop and smell, take that pause and stop and smell this morning. Stop and smell the roses, right? Just stop and just allow yourself to receive those good vibes and soak in it, even if it's just for a moment, so that we're reprogramming everything about us into that goodness, that yumminess. You have to practice it. It is a practice, right? And then, yeah, then when poop shows up, you're aware of the poop show, but you don't have to get entangled in it because you've got some place to come back to, your own being, your energetics, home. Yeah, that was a lot.
I love it. It's beautiful. Yeah.
It's one
Thank
of my
you so much, Kim.
favorites.
Yeah, me
Oh,
too.
yeah.
It's life changing for me. And yeah, to your point, when I first started playing with it, my brain really wrestled with it. So I could maybe get a glimpse for a moment and then it would be elusive and I would maybe get 2 moments. And then so it's really that warrior practice of choosing to come back to it over and over again until, you are creating those new neural pathways and it becomes more comfortable for your brain to hold on
I
to it.
love
So,
that you brought that in because that's 100%. Like, how many times do we, try on a new practice? And like you said, it's just a glimpse. Oh, well, that didn't work. And then we don't do it. Yeah.
yep,
Right. It's like,
exactly.
yeah, keep doing it. If you get a glimpse of it, that is doing it. That's a win.
Yeah.
That glimpse is a win. It's not that, yeah, did it last for 20 minutes? Maybe not. Right? Did it last for nanosecond? Yeah. That's a win. That is how you start. You start with where you're at.
Exactly.
But it
Yeah.
doesn't work if you don't practice it. That's for sure. So it's super easy. On your way to sleep at night, as you wake up in the morning, and then throughout the day, something lovely happens. Just take a pause. You don't have to stop. You can pause while you're still walking and just go, ooh, that was so awesome. Right? So just acknowledging it and receiving it. And that continues to, what word would you use? That continues to build on that muscle. Right?
Like going to the gym. Yep.
Yeah. And then that becomes more of our way of showing up in the world instead of so much of the poop that's out there. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, this is a fun conversation. Thank you, Kim.
I love it.
I love it. It's really good. It's one to listen to over and over again as we need to remind ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone. We
Well,
so love these conversations. So grateful that you've joined us and share with us your experience as you begin to practice and embody.
yay.
Until next time. Bye.